Dailies. Spurge Hysteria. So a couple of mornings ago, the Karen of Spurge chanced by while I was cleaning my gutters. She asked me if I knew that I had spurge in my yard. Oh, here we go. She proceeded to school me on spurge, but her information was the hysterical variety, and when I pushed back with what I know, she got even more Karen. So I'm going to share what I've learned about spurge. But first, this is what my spurge looks like. Spurge first came to my attention as a problem early this year. I chanced upon a video, can't remember where, but it was about the poisonous aspects and that it was illegal to propagate or sell it in our state. That got me looking to find out more. Here's what I found. There are 2,000 plus varieties of spurge, one of which happens to be our favorite Christmas poinsettias. Euphorbia is the genus name and ranges from tiny annual plants to very large and long-lived trees. Both wild forms and cultivars are found on all continents around the globe, on every continent. All forms have a latex-like sap that contains toxic chemicals that in varying degrees can cause skin and mucous membranes irritation. The degree of irritation depends on the variety of euphorbia as well as the contact's individual's general health. Someone less healthy and or more sensitive to the compounds in the sap will experience more effects than someone who is healthy and or less sensitive. So the hysterical yap says that spurge can cause blindness and third-degree burns, expressed with an emotional element to it. It is also claimed that spurge is an invasive plant. This year I learned that in my state it is listed as a noxious invasive weed and it is on the prohibited category. I will address each of these issues: blindness, third-degree burns, and invasiveness. As to blindness, if you get it in your eye and do nothing to get it out or treat it in any way, you can lose the sight in your eye. The disrupted tissue that becomes irritated causes inflammation that can lead to an infection if untreated, which can result in blindness. People who work with euphorbias are cautioned to wear eye protection. It is also suggested that should the sap be transferred to one's eye, immediate attention be given to prevent any further damage. There are cases of blindness, but there are also specific situations that require a deeper look at what actually happened. I am not challenging the fact that the sap is toxic. I'm challenging the notion that all the sap is equally toxic and that blindness will be the result. The hysterical part. As to third-degree burns, I couldn't find any reports of cases that involve third-degree burns resulting from spurge sap. There are reports of blisters, which would be first and second-degree burns, but only blisters are mentioned. Couldn't find any degree indicated. Third-degree burns do not form a blister. They turn dark red and may have visible fat and involve the top 3 layers of the skin. I did find a Canadian article regarding hogweed. Hogweed has a toxic sap that can cause third-degree burns when exposed to sunlight and even blindness if it gets in the eye. But it's not a euphorbia plant. It's out of the carrot family. Heracleum, a genus of the biennial and perennial herbs in the carrot family. Apiaceae. I don't know how to say it. Anyway. As to blisters, I found a report for 2 children who were exposed. Granted, observing a young child with a blister on cheek and swollen, irritated skin could be triggering, but the irritation resolves itself fairly quickly and does not cause permanent damage. Again, 3rd degree is an hysterical response. As to being invasive, an invasive species is any plant or animal that has spread or been introduced into a new area where they are or could cause harm to the environment, economy, or human, animal, or plant health. Now we get to the discussion of what nature intends. And humans are at odds with nature. Wherever we go, we so alter the natural world to our liking that we are now paying a price. Our inevitable extinction, self-caused. We disrupt nature's habitats so that the balance of nature exists no longer. We kill animals for no other reason than gaming sport. We plow fields to the point of horrendous dust storms. We fill the ocean with plastic waste to the detriment of every living thing that lives there. Much of life we've never laid eyes on. We cut down forests, our very source of clean air. We are so damn dumb. Granted, there is information that is essential for some plants. But when it comes to defining native, I think we ignore the facts. Euphorbias are found around the globe. Now you want to tell me that you know for certain that it came from one location on a planet with wind, rain, earthquakes, migrating animals, and humans. Nature takes advantage of all those factors to spread its life-giving seeds. I've had this particular plant in my yard for 20 years. It's a great xeriscape plant as it requires no additional water. I planted a start that I collected from some neighbors around 2003. They had put theirs in a pot to keep it from spreading, which made me giggle when I learned that it shoots its seeds 15 feet. But it hasn't taken over my yard. It has spread in the 20 years, but it's not an invasive kind of spread. It's slow to spread. So when I found the noxious weed list for my state, and sure enough, my euphorbia variety is listed under Section 4, prohibited for sale and propagation. The other interesting note from the noxious weed list is that of the 2,000 plus varieties, 2 have made the list. Anyway, the Karen was walking her dogs and expressed concern that her dogs could be harmed should they walk on the spurge. From my experience with this particular spurge, it's not that delicate. I pull it out by grasping it in my hand and yanking. The only sap released is at the stem break. Grasping the leaves in that fashion does not damage them. I will admit that I suggested she control her dogs so they don't walk on the spurge, as well as informing her that the plant isn't that delicate. The Karen's parting shot was that if she chances by and the spurge is on the walkway, she will pull it out. Hopefully, she won't get any irritating sap on her Karen hands. So, what to do? I'll continue to pay close attention to the proximity of my spurge to the public walkway and keep it under control as I have been doing. When I collected the plant, I had no idea it was so controversial, and I will say that it's kind of shocking. But more shocking than the spurge is the list of noxious weeds. I have several others that are included on that list. About the list, we have a state list as well as a per county list. Being aware of the list is important because property owners are responsible for what grows on their property. No shock there. And living in a society that tends to be uppity, opinionated, political, and bossy, where did the kindness and the helpfulness go? I recall an elderly gentleman being harassed because he grew tomatoes in his front yard. The insanity of Snood is profound. I can't wait for the day the majority wake up to the reality of where we actually are. Hopefully we'll still have a planet to call home. Hey, thanks for watching.